What's up, my D&D family? Today I have a Conjuration combo king build for you. This build is all about synergizing with our Conjuration summons. Now what's really interesting about this build is we're actually an Evocation Wizard. Bet you weren't expecting that. But the Evocation Wizard has a ton of synergy with the summon spells, like an incredible amount. Beginning with the fact that every single summon spell is a concentration spell, and the majority of our Evocation blasting spells are non-concentration. So they synergize perfectly in that regard. But there's going to be so many other synergies that we're going to explore throughout this video, so let's get into it. Starting off, we're going to be a goblin. Goblins are absolutely incredible for this build. First off, unlike the dating scene, being small is a total asset to us. More on that later, but what's true for every single wizard is that the hide action as a bonus action is insanely good. We don't have a ton of bonus actions to use, and the hide as a bonus action is essentially potentially be invincible as a bonus action. Incredible. As for our stats, our primary is intelligence. We want to get an odd score if possible and still have it be really high. After that, we're going to have constitution as our secondary and dexterity as our tertiary. I'd say the most unique thing about our first 5 levels is that we're going to take the skill expert feat into stealth. That is just going to make our bonus action stealth really consistent, and we're going to be really hard to find and thus kill. Now we really begin talking about this build once we hit 5th level, because that's when we get our summon spells. Typically what a fight will look like for us: first turn we're going to summon our summon spell, then we're going to take the hide action as a bonus action. Then every single turn after that we're going to either mix in cantrips or fireballs and then take the hide action right after, and that's typically going to be our playstyle. As for our ASIs, I'm going to make sure to max out intelligence, and in our background I'm going to want to pick up some thieves tools proficiencies so we can be kind of a roguelike wizard, since we're going to be taking proficiency and expertise in stealth anyways. As for our 3rd level summons, the one that stands out the most to me is the summon Shadowspawn. This is going to be our control option when we want to try and control the battlefield a bit more instead of just straight damage output. Summon Shadowspawn has an AoE fear that can help us do that, as well as we're going to take the despair version so that we can hinder movement. Hindering movement's quite nice because we can set up situations where we see a big group of enemies, we put a Shadowspawn amidst them, and we can expect pretty reasonably that they won't be able to move far enough to get outside of our blast radius in time. Which brings me to the first synergy between Evocation Wizards and Conjuration Wizards, and that's Sculpt Spell when we pick it up. Sculpt Spell is going to allow us to throw our fireballs at our summons and be able to sculpt it around them so that we aren't damaging our summons. It's perfect synergy. Now Summon Shadowspawn is going to remain our primary control option, although I would say we minor in control with Summon Shadowspawn. We're mostly about the damage output. So our second option, and this is for our ranged combats, is going to be the Summon Undead Skeletal version. Now this is only going to be until we get our 4th level spell slots, because we get a better ranged option at that time, but in the meantime we might as well have a pocket warlock throwing eldritch bolts around while we sit in the back throwing our fire bolts around, just increasing our damage output every single turn. Now I think our really big synergies start coming in at our 4th level spells. Beginning with Summon Construct, the Clay Golem. We have crazy good synergy with this guy. First off, he's going to be our tanky frontliner, and he's going to innately have 2 attacks, and if we upcast him he's going to get more. But what's really neat about the Clay Golem is when they take damage, they get an opportunity attack that randomly hits somebody around them. So long as we make sure they're right next to an enemy and not an ally, that's an extra attack per round. And what's really cool is that we can time this perfectly. Because our summons go right after us, we can wait on our turn. Did they get an opportunity attack this round? If the answer is no, we can proc it for them. Spells like Acid Splash, where we can target both the enemy they're next to as well as our construct, is going to damage both of them, and then our golem gets to punch them in the face as well. So we can basically guarantee they're getting those extra attacks. And this is where another synergy comes in from Evocation Wizard. Any other wizard, our golem could save on that Acid Splash and we would do no damage and they wouldn't get their attack. Well, as an Evocation Wizard, we get potent spellcasting, meaning we're guaranteed to do damage, meaning we're guaranteed to get that attack. Other synergies is if the golem isn't next to an enemy nor an ally, what we can do is we can cast magic missiles and target them with one of our magic missiles and our enemies with the rest. That's going to allow our golem to use their reaction, to use their movement speed without proccing opportunity attacks to get into better position. And then on their turn, they have enough movement to get up close and start punching people. So we really synergize well with the Summon Construct. But that's not all. We also get Summon Aberration, the Beholderkin. This guy is a medium-sized creature that can hover and fly around and shoot like little psychic eldritch blasts. We're a small creature, which means we now have a flying speed. If you think chucking fireballs and hiding in the dark is deadly, which it is, then chucking fireballs from the sky is equally as deadly in certain circumstances. Think about it, we are a wizard that is now skyborn. We're chucking a fireball and our Beholderkin's eldritch blasting, like that's basically a weapons flying platform of doom and death flying around just destroying the battlefield. baller. And once we get our 5th level spells, we get Summon Draconic Spirit. I actually don't like this one as much as the Beholderkin, because the Draconic Spirit's real damage output comes from melee attacks, but we want to be far away in the air. So it can come up where we want the damage resistance and we still get a summon with us, but that's mainly what I'd use the Summon Draconic Spirit for if I take it at all. 6th level, we get Summon Fiend, the Devil version. This also allows us to fly around, and it also has long range blasts that do more damage than the Beholderkin. However, they are fire instead of psychic, which is less reliable, but it is something that we're going to want. So once we're high level with this build, we're going to have our Summon Shadowspawn for control. We're going to have our Summon Devil and our Summon Beholderkin as our ranged flying platforms, and then we're going to have our Summon Construct as our beefy, nasty frontline tank. And I want to say that all of them scale well. Like, think about the Summon Construct cast at 6th level. It's going to have like 30 HP more than the Devil does. It's going to have better AC, and it's going to get more attacks off, which overall will increase the damage output. So every single one of them is going to have a place. Sometimes flying is going to be incredible. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes hiding in the background and letting our construct be on the front line is going to be better. We are a very flexible build. And once you consider that we're still in the back line, chucking fireballs, casting these crazy enhanced magic missiles at level 10, this build starts to feel really, really cool and feel like one of those premium blaster builds. Let me know if you guys can come up with any other awesome Conjuration Evocation synergies. I was surprised at how well they work together. I want to give a shout out to one of our daily legend Patreons, to Ambrose B. Ambrose B, thank you so much for being part of our community and supporting the channel. It means a ton to us. If you want to support the channel as well and get some awesome benefits all along the way, consider checking out our Patreon. But with that, my friends, I hope you have yourselves an incredible day, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you then.